Welcome everybody to another crazy video. This time I have a crazy baby game into Ghost, which is very fun. Actually, if I'm going to be honest, Ghost and Poison are not my favorite synergies to play. The reason being, I think that it's a really balanced comp, and I think that it's amazing that you can win easily if people don't have the right items for what you are doing. For example, a Cleanse Tag or Fluffy Tail on Poison against, Poison and Ghost teams. But I'm just not a big fan of being forced to make such items in order to not lose horribly against these units. Remember though, even if you make a bunch of these items, it still doesn't mean that you will be able to take down a Poison and Ghost team if their team is just doing way too much damage, which, you know, sometimes peeves me when I'm playing games and I'm playing a really fun comp and someone just goes, linear Ghost. It's like, oh man, why are they getting such good wins off a easy comp to play? Though it's not that easy, because you do have to rely on additional picks and good items, enough luck to grab your units, and all that good stuff. Also, you have to be able to get a late comp, and sometimes you'll just get out before you're able to reach, get Ghost 8 or Poison 7. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm putting a baby team. I'm looking for some eggs right now because I don't actually know what I want to play, and I always think that Hatchmons are fun and it's like gambling, You either get a really nice Hatchmon or you get a Hatchmon that doesn't fit in your team. And you know me, I love gambling. Woohoo! Let's go gambling! So I put another baby in because that increases the percentage of finding eggs. One thing that sometimes I catch myself doing is I want to keep a lot of Pokemons in my bench so that I can pivot so I don't lose too much health. And then that just leads me to not getting enough eggs, because sometimes you can get more than one egg. I'm looking at everybody and it seems like there is a lot of people going electric, so I don't want to go to electric, especially with this new patch in which the pools of Pokemon are a bit smaller, so it's hard to get Pokemon that are contested over. I get a Bellsprout, and I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this. I won't lie, Flora Grass is one of my least favorite comps, because first of all, Pokenomicon hard counters it. I find that it's just not a fun synergy to go after. I do remember when it used to be very overpowered, and that was a fun time, but now that it's had due nerfs, I'm glad that it's had these nerfs, but it just doesn't make the comp fun, in my opinion. People who can make it fun though, 100% respects. I also get a Dragapult hatch and a Snivy hatch. So I could go linear grass, and it probably would be easy to go linear grass because there are a couple of grass ad picks, but I just don't like going grass. I do want to try out that new Lurantis one day though, because the Lurantis looks really fun, especially like a grass light team could be super interesting with Cherubi. I continue to check my luck, see if I can get more eggs, but my health is getting dangerously low, especially if I can't pivot properly. One of the biggest counters for baby teams is not being able to pivot correctly into a stabilizing team, so I find it to be a little bit scary. Right now there's Gyarados around, and I'm seeing if I could maybe make that grass light team. So I put some light in, thinking maybe I could put a grass stone on a light unit, making a grass light team that could be super interesting. I'm definitely not gonna win this round though, and I'm fine with that. Most of the time, I do not win my Gyarados rounds if I'm going baby. So I see that there are 0 light portals, which is incredibly sad because my only synergy right now is light. And I see a ghost portal and I'm like, I could pivot to ghost. So I do find a Spirit Tome, which Spirit Tome is very good. It's a very good ranged unit, as well as it has Amorphous and Dark. It's pretty good for Dark teams. Ghost teams. Because you have Haunter, which is Amorphous, you can add 1 more Amorphous, or Darkrai, which is Amorphous, and that's Amorphous 3 Ghost. You could also have Darkrai, Spirit Tome, and another Dark unit, or Dark Stone, in which I do make a Dark Stone eventually, because I am hoping for a Darkrai as my legendary. So I'm not able to pivot very easily, which is a little bit concerning. I'm seeing that most likely I'll have to put my hatched units, and I'm thinking maybe I should go Ghost, because Spirit Tomb is a really good Ghost user, and I put a Darkstone on my Bellsprout, which I do find out to be a really bad option, because Bellsprout is gonna go jump and get absolutely murked, like destroyed. If possible, I'd like to see if I could put some AP items on my Dragapult. If I can do that, it will do tons of damage. One of the things about these carousels that I do enjoy, but I think may need to be a little bit reworked, is that I like that these carousels require you to pay money to get these items, but I do think that having a 2-item difference sometimes is just too much. Therefore, I think that we should make perhaps the items lower or just not cost anything at all. I do think that the artificial items should be a costed thing, but maybe not the Wonder Boxes, just because having a 2-item advantage over everybody is a little bit unfair. To be fair though, this is to make sure that everybody has good econ, so it favors people with good econ and it punishes people with bad econ, which I can understand. Spirit Tomb is one of those users that does 100 damage flat for its special attack, and its special attack is pretty good, lowering special defense of the other opposing Pokemon teams. And I think that having Spirit Tomb cast a lot can usually one-shot pretty weak Pokemons and end up doing really good for the team. I do put my Snivy in, and I'm thinking, maybe the Bellsprout with the Darkstone is not so good, so eventually I do pivot from a Bellsprout Darkstone to a Snivy Darkstone. I'm trying to level up my team as much as possible because I'm just losing too much, my health is very low, and I'm worried that I'm gonna get knocked out before I'm even able to do something cool. So right now I'm at 5 Ghost and 3 Dark. I think I can make it to 8 Ghost, 5 Dark potentially if I get that Darkrai and potentially another Darkstone or put another Dark unit in. I see that there's a Twisted Spoon, Magnet, Nevermelt Ice. I picked the Twisted Spoon because I think having a Twisted Spoon on Dragapult would help it a lot. And I do get a Metronome, which I know will synchronize with Fuecoco in the future, so that's very good. I do put my Metronome on my Dual Blade, and that is because Artificial gains stats, but that's only at Artificial 4 and 6, which I don't realize. But Dual Blade is a good user for having PP anyways. So I make a Lucky Egg on Dragapult, and that is because I want to make sure that Dragon Bolt can dodge as much as possible, luck being good for dodging, crit chance, all that good stuff. And I want my Dragapult to dodge a lot so it can live longer, so it can end up doing more damage. The Snivy and the Dragapult actually synergize very well because right after Snivy casts, so will Spiritomb and Dragapult, leading to Armor Break, doing a lot of damage because Armor Break reduces the amount of defense, I believe, that each Pokemon has. Snivy is just a very good unit, especially on the corners of the board where it can hit as much as possible. When you have a Snivy, preferably you'd like to be like right in front of them or right across them so it hits as many people as possible. If they're grouping up, it's really important that you are right in front of them so that as many of them are being hit as possible, which I see that my Snivy is doing. Right now, I would love to hit Ghost 8, but my Snivy is doing so much damage, so I'd like to keep Snivy in as much as I can. The Ghost 6 debuffs are doing so good though, so it's very, very nice to see. My friend is actually the Ultra Necrozma, the shiny Ultra Necrozma that's checking out my team. He's dead last right now, and he's kind of panicking because his team is not doing so good. I'm looking at my Amorphous, and I really would like to hit Amorphous if I can. That would mean 1 Ghost, 1 Dark, and 1 Artificial, which not much, but anything would help. So I put in a Honedge just to keep it like that. I know that it doesn't affect my synergies, but not much that I can put in will affect my synergies. I do see if I can put Dragon 3 in because Dragapult is a dragon, but honestly, it's not as useful as having Artificial in my opinion. I do find a Ghastly, and I can have Amorphous, Ghost 6, and Dragon, which now is a lot more useful. So I see a Ghost Dark portal, and that's very good because that higher my chances for a Darkrai. And I do find a Fuecoco, which can synergize with the artificial item that I find. Now, sadly, I do not get the Darkrai, and I have to settle for a Marshadow, which in my opinion is not a very good unit. It takes a pretty long time for it to cast, and I don't have the items to properly help it. So I'm doing a little bit of repositioning right now. I'd like to put my artificial Pokemon back in, but because of Amorphous, this is doing a little bit extra for health and attack speed, so I'm keeping it in. Eventually, when I get to level 9 though, I will put in 8 Ghost, because that's far more useful than Amorphous 3. So right now I'm doing pretty good, and my Dragapult finally evolves with a Scope Lens that I put on it. That Scope Lens, because with the Darkstone, is going to synergize very well, meaning that my Dragapult is going to cast very often. That's going to be very good for my team. I'm seeing what I can put in, and I end up getting Ghost 7, which I put on accident. Having Amorphous would have been far more useful, and I do believe I lose this battle because of that. I might not have won this battle at all, because this is the top team, but it was a misplay on my part. So now there's everything, and I wanted to get the Razor Claw for my Serperior. And I'm panicking because I am super low on health. I won't even last one more battle, so I have to get to Ghost 8. So I put the Mana Scarf on Ghastly. Ghastly does very good in Ghost teams. And I finally hit Ghost 8. And right now I'm rolling down trying to get a Haunter because a Haunter would help with this team. At Ghost 8, there will be a candle above a unit, and after 8 seconds, that unit will fall unless they have a Fluffy Tail or a Curse Tag. Basically any rune product. I'm trying to find more units, get as powerful as possible. There's nothing else I can really do. My team does seem to have been doing a lot of damage. Haunter doing amazing amounts of damage. Serperior very much synergizing with my Dragapult, Spiritomb, and Haunter. Fatigue is just a really, really good... sorry, not Fatigue. Silence is a very, very good effect because it prevents people from casting, which is really good because the top team is a ice/water, and you know water loves to cast. Right now I'm just rolling down for some upgrades. There's nothing else I can really do. I'm worried that I'm gonna get knocked out and get fifth place. And I find an Aqua Egg, which is perfect for Haunter. You want Haunter to be constantly casting. Sorry for that pause. Something just happened with my cat. But you see that the other team has an Articuno and a Melodic, and it's a very scary team. I'm against the Fire team, but it seems like their Fire team doesn't have that many Rune Protect, so I just easily melt through them. Dragapult doing the most damage, Haunter also doing a lot. I repositioned my Haunter and my Spiritomb because I really do not want my Haunter to be dying very early. It also has a pretty large Rage, so it should be able to stay in that little middle area. I'm trying to find an evolution for Fuecoco, and I finally hit it. And this is about how much upgraded my team can get. Unless I can get a Gengar from the Haunter, there's genuinely nothing else I can do. I'm seeing what I can do against the top team, and even with all those casts, the top team cannot win against the Ghost Curse. Keep in mind though that the top team with the Melodic has a bunch of Rune Protect. Later on they'll get a bunch of Curse Tags, but because they're not able to hit a Fluffy Tail, it will not be enough for them. So I'm looking at everything, and I think that the Darkstone and the Scope Lens will synergize really well with the Serperior. Therefore, I put it on my Serperior. Now my Serperior will be able to cast a lot, and that will be super good for my very, very AP scaling Mons like Dragapult and Haunter and Spiritomb, which are casting a lot. So against this Fire team, I knock it out, which is great. And now it's a PvE round. There's nothing else I can do except for maybe hoard some Ultra units, trying to get that Gengar. Most likely I won't be able to get that Gengar though. And Spiritomb and Haunter and Dragapult are all in this good area. There's nothing else I can really do. And I do find a Gracidia flower, which I believe would be the best thing I can do. I was thinking of a Razor Fang, but Serperior already has Armor Break, therefore it's most definitely Gracidia flower. Gracidia flower on Haunter will help boost Spiritomb and Dragapult, meaning that they'll be able to attack, cast, and eventually, hopefully, kill all of the other units. The very annoying part is the Articuno, which is just freezing my units and forcing my units to take so much damage, and I end up killing the top team. So this should be the last round between me and the top team. Nothing else I can really do. The top team is trying to get as much upgrades as possible, and honestly, the top team is not positioning for my team. Whether or not that's a good thing or not. I'm not quite sure. So the ghosts are obviously doing their hardest, and the curse is on Melodic, which is taking a lot of damage, and eventually I do knock them out. This team was really, really fun. Honestly, if I had the Dark Ride, this would have been even better. But it was a good team. Haunter doing the most amount of damage, and it was just incredible. Look at all that damage, and